New life abroad. Starting a new life abroad is one of the most life-changing experiences a person can go through. It brings with it a blend of excitement, fear, challenges, and growth. Leaving your home country, the place where you grew up, where your family and friends live, and where everything feels familiar, is never easy. But sometimes, taking that big step toward a new life in a foreign land can be the beginning of an extraordinary journey. I still remember the day I boarded the plane. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. I was excited for the opportunities waiting for me, but I also felt the deep sadness of leaving everything I knew behind. The thought of stepping into a new culture, meeting new people, and living a life that was completely different from the one I had known kept my mind restless. The first impressions. When I first arrived in the new country, everything felt unfamiliar. The language sounded different, the streets looked strange, and the lifestyle was something I had only seen in movies. Even simple tasks like buying groceries, taking public transportation, or asking for directions felt like major challenges. At times, I questioned my decision and wondered if I had made a mistake. But slowly, things started to change. I began to pick up words from the local language. I found people who were kind and willing to help. I started to understand how things worked, from the local laws to cultural customs. I realized that while life was different, it was also full of new possibilities. Cultural adjustment. One of the biggest parts of starting a new life abroad is adapting to a new culture. Every country has its own way of doing things, its own food, traditions, social rules, and ways of thinking. At first, it can be confusing or even overwhelming. There were moments when I felt lost in translation or misunderstood. Sometimes I accidentally offended someone without meaning to, just because I didn't know the cultural norms. But I learned to be patient. I began to listen more, observe more, and ask questions when I didn't understand something. I realized that being open-minded is the key to adjusting to a new culture. The more I embraced the differences, the more I grew as a person. I learned to appreciate new foods, enjoy different festivals, and respect new ways of thinking. Instead of feeling like an outsider, I started to feel like a part of something bigger. Language and communication. If there's one challenge that almost every immigrant faces, it's language. Communicating in a second language can be scary, especially when you're not fluent. I often found myself nervous to speak, afraid I would say something wrong or be misunderstood. But I kept practicing, even when I made mistakes. I joined language classes, watched local TV shows, and practiced speaking with friendly locals. Over time, my confidence grew. I realized that most people appreciated the effort and were supportive. Learning the language didn't just help me communicate, it helped me connect. I started making friends, understanding jokes, and expressing myself more freely. Language became the bridge that connected my old world with the new one. New opportunities. One of the most exciting things about moving abroad is the chance to grow both personally and professionally. For many people, including myself, a new country brings better job opportunities, quality education, and a higher standard of living. I had the chance to work in a field I loved, with people from different cultures and backgrounds. I learned new skills, gained international experience, and discovered my own strengths. Living abroad also taught me how to be independent and responsible. I had to manage my own finances, deal with paperwork, and solve problems on my own. These experiences helped me become more confident, resilient, and mature. Loneliness and homesickness. Of course, it wasn't always easy. There were times when I felt incredibly lonely. I missed my family, my friends, the food, and the language of home. I missed the comfort of knowing how everything worked, of belonging without having to try. But I learned to cope with those feelings. I stayed connected with my loved ones through phone calls and video chats. I created new routines and found comfort in small things like a favorite coffee shop or a quiet park. I built new friendships and made new memories. Slowly, the new country started to feel like home. A broader perspective. Living abroad opened my eyes to the world. I met people from different countries, religions, and cultures. I listened to their stories, shared my own, and realized how connected we all are despite our differences. My thinking became more global, my mind more open. I began to see life not just from one angle, but from many. I also began to appreciate my home country more deeply. Distance gave me a new perspective. I saw the beauty in my roots and the strength in my identity. I became proud of where I came from, even as I built a life in a new land. Conclusion. A journey worth taking. Starting a new life abroad is not just about changing your address. It's about changing your mindset, your habits, and your heart. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and into a world of endless learning. It's about falling down, getting up, and becoming stronger with every experience. Yes, there are challenges, language barriers, cultural differences, loneliness, but there is also growth, discovery, and the joy of building a life you once only dreamed of. Looking back, I wouldn't trade this journey for anything. It has shaped who I am today, more confident, more open-minded, and more resilient. Living abroad taught me that home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. And sometimes, that feeling can be found in a completely new land, among new people, speaking a new language, and living a new life. It's not the easiest path, but it's one of the most rewarding. And for me, it's been the adventure of a lifetime.